Hi, my name's Ilma and welcome to my channel. I've been posting Christian blogs 13 straight years every day. Today I'd like to share Daniel 2 verses 1 to 11. Here is the word of God. In the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar had dreams. His spirit was troubled and his sleep left him. Then the king commanded that the magicians, the enchanters, the sorcerers, and the Chaldeans be summoned to tell the king his dreams. So they came in and stood before the king. And the king said to them, I had a dream, and my spirit is troubled to know the dream. Then the Chaldeans said to the king in Aramaic, O king, live forever. Tell your servants the dream, and we will show the interpretation. The king answered and said to the Chaldeans, The word from me is firm. If you do not make known to me the dream and its interpretation, you shall be torn limb to limb, and your houses shall be laid in ruins. But if you show the dream and its interpretation, you shall receive from me gifts and rewards and great honor. Therefore, show me the dream and its interpretation. They answered a second time and said, Let the king tell his servants the dream, and we will show its interpretation. The king answered and said, I know with certainty that you are trying to gain time, because you see that the word from me is firm. If you do not make the dream known to me, there is but one sentence for you. You have agreed to speak lying and corrupt words before me till the times change. Therefore tell me the dream, and I shall know that you can show me its interpretation. The Chaldeans answered the king and said, There is not a man on earth who can meet the king's demand, for no great and powerful king has asked such a thing of any magician or enchanter or Chaldean. The thing that the king asks is difficult, and no one can show it to the king except the gods whose dwelling is not with flesh. Daniel 2, 1 to 11. Here's my poem. Here's my commentary. The impossible demand. In this account, we meet and get to know King Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon. Let us make a character sketch of this leader. In verse 1, we get a glimpse of his worrisome character to a point of anxiety. He was very much bothered by his dream. He wasn't privy to God's plan for his life, but deep inside he sensed that something was not right. In verse 5, we witness his very controlling and violent nature when he threatened to kill and put to ruin houses of those who won't be able to interpret his dream. What a spoiled brat this king was. A heartless and impossible demanding control freak. His very harsh and hard requirements is unattainable by any mere human being. Reflection. Why do you think this king was bothered by his dream? Well, every human being is made in God's image. So we have that part of us that knows in our heart about something. In other words, when we sense something is not right, God shows that to us. And I think what God is doing is trying to show Nebuchadnezzar his pride, which will later on get to the details of the dream, not in this following verses, but probably the succeeding verses. So, but how impossible it is for this man to even demand something that he wouldn't tell them his dream. He just wanted them to guess the dream and wanted them to interpret what his dream was when he wasn't saying anything. So that was very impossible. But later on, we will find out that there's nothing impossible with God, but there's a lot of things impossible with human beings. And in this following verses, we see that how impossible this king is, who wants something extraordinarily that a human cannot give, because only a divine God can give him his dream, knows how to interpret his dream. So, in other words, this shows the sovereignty of God, at the same time, the limitation of men. So it's important for us to recognize that we cannot extract from human beings anything that is divine, nor can we lower down the divinity of God and think that we can interpret or understand something that is supernatural. So I encourage you to reflect on these following verses, because we can learn so much from the character of Nebuchadnezzar. How later on in the following chapters we will find out what that dream meant, and that dream came true and happened to him. But that is because of his controlling nature, his pride, his arrogance, and all that stuff. Thanks for watching. I hope you check my website at ilmaars.com for artworks, photographs, and a copy of this blog. Please subscribe to my channel on YouTube so I could make more videos, give you the Word of God. And if you haven't already, check over 4,000 videos I've done over the years I've been doing this daily. Just type on YouTube or Google search Ilma's Poem Devotional. Have a wonderful day.